Now, every camera manufacturer, or major camera manufacturer, has released a number of cameras over the last few years that have gotten bigger and better specs, but hasn't really been built big enough to compensate for the amount of power that these cameras can produce. And because of that, overheating has become a very prominent issue amongst all camera brands. Well, I've come across a device that has gotten some attention, but not as much attention as I think it should be, because this little device may be able to solve most of those overheating problems for most of these cameras. Let's get into it. What's up, everyone? I'm Matthew Henry, and I'm a portrait and sports photographer based in West Central Texas. And the product that I want to talk to you about today is the Ulanzi thermostatic semiconductor cooling kit. Now, this may or may not have been something you've already come across. I've seen videos on it, but I've not seen enough to really give this thing its credit. If you have any kind of modern mirrorless camera that's made over the last several years that doesn't have an internal fan, it will probably be prone to overheating. Like I said, I'm in West Central Texas, so literally any camera I touch that doesn't have a dedicated fan, it's going to overheat. Now, for context, I have the Canon R5 Mark II, which I'm trying to get the focus. There we go. And if you know anything about this camera, this thing has been wildly criticized for its overheating. Not just the Mark II, but the original R5 Mark I when that first came out before its firmware update kind of fixed some of those issues. But regardless, it will still overheat. Now, if you've not seen this yet, this is a really neat little device. This is the second version of Ulanzi's cooling fan. And this one is a little bit different as it has a detachable external battery, and the cooling fan is actually a separate device. So this device comes in two different pieces. You have the actual semiconductor cooling fan piece, which attaches to the back of your camera, and then you have a separate battery that charges it. Now, you don't have to buy both at the same time. You can just buy this piece by itself, the actual cooling fan. I think it's going for like $30 at the time of recording, even with all the craziness with tariffs and international shipping and all that. Just keep that in mind. It is $30 by itself. If you do it with the battery included, which comes in a whole kit, I think it's about $45. And then you can also purchase these batteries by themselves. And right now they're going for $20. So if you figure you get a couple of batteries to last you however long you need, and they do have the actual battery limit for how long you can record with a single charge, depending on your level. I think if you're on level 1, I think it's about 80 minutes of continuous runtime. On level 2, I think it drops to 70 or 75, and on auto, it dips down to 65. But depending on what you're filming, you may not need that entire time running this one battery. But for 20 bucks, you can get you 3 or 4 batteries and be good for several hours if that's what you need, which I think is a really good deal, especially if you have an R5 and you're looking for that battery grip. That battery grip is like $450. So altogether, you can spend maybe what, 100, 120 with the kit and a couple of batteries and be good to go. What's cool about this is that, one, you can control the fan speed, and the fan speed's a little bit loud, so I'm actually going to test that right now. I have it on its first setting, and this is what you hear when I put it next to the microphone. Now, it has 3 settings technically. It's got a level 1, a level 2, and then there's an auto level. This is level 2. As you can see, it gets a little bit louder. And then level 1, or auto, it'll kind of be a mix of both depending on the situation or how hot it thinks your camera is going to get. But ultimately, this little thing has saved me a number of times so far. Now, I've not tested it in extreme hot weather. My few times that I have used it have been in indoor gyms, which were probably about 72, 75 degrees internally. Had a decent airflow through it, so it wasn't too hot. But when you're using the Canon R5 Mark II and you're filming in 4K 120 for a basketball game, it'll overheat, especially when you're filming in 4K 120. Now, I don't do super long takes. I kind of just follow the action, but either way, when I wasn't using this, I was definitely getting the overheating bars starting to increase. And I think the highest I got it without a fan was probably around the 4th or 5th marker. I also do have the battery grip on it that does not have a fan because I said I also do sports photography, so I don't want to have to keep swapping them out but it may come to a point where I do have to just commit to buying the battery grip made for the R5 Mark II with the cooling fan in it. But I don't want to give up the horizontal or the vertical controls that their main grip gives me. So obviously I'm blocking the vents that the R5 II has, so I'm really not doing myself any favors. But when I have used this, it has kept it from overheating, or I've never gotten the camera to fully overheat and shut down, but I have had those bars get up into the red, which I can't remember how many of those are, but when using this, I've never got to that red point. I was able to keep the heating Okay, so when I've used this device, I have managed to keep the heat buildup in the R5 Mark II relatively moderate to very, very low. But like I said, granted, I've only used this in indoor climates. I did use it outside for a soccer game, but that was probably about 60, maybe 65, if I'm being generous. I think my biggest test with this is probably going to come up in the fall. Like I said in the beginning, I am a portrait and sports photographer, but lately I've been doing some sports videography simply because no one in my area is really doing it, and it's actually something that's pretty wanted. So I think I tapped in an untapped market, but we'll see how it goes. But I am already on tap to do some videography for a high school football team, and Texas gets still pretty hot in the fall. I think last year we were in October, and I think it was still low to mid 90s, like in late October, so that's going to be a true test. Now, I am going to test this eventually against Canon's own cooling grip. I'm just going to divide the bullet and drop that $450 or however much it is to get the cooling grip and do a comparison between the two, a true comparison, either in the summertime or early fall. But either way, for what this costs, I mean, you're getting a lot of value out of this thing. I've used it. I've run through an entire battery during a basketball game when running it continuously in the gym. I haven't bought more. I'm going to, but I mean, this little device can really do you wonders. Now, I will say, you do have to make sure you have the right type of camera. If you have a camera that has a fully flip out screen, if you don't have one of those variangled ones that flips down, you'll be able to use it. As you can see, this lip right here, so as you can see, this lip right here, this piece will insert onto the inside of your monitor or of your screen, and it will keep it in place. So it's relatively snug. You can hear me jostling it. It won't move. Ulanzi's original cooling fan, that was a big complaint they had because it didn't have that little lip that would hold it secure, so it would always fall out if you bumped it. But this thing, man, this thing is solid. So, I mean, it's an impressive little device. Like I said, it saved me so far, but like I said, I haven't really pushed it to its limits. But I'm going to do that soon just to see how well it does. And if I can do that and not have to spend $450, which I probably wouldn't do it anyway, that might be something worth looking into if you have a camera that deals with overheating and you don't really have a camera that has that kind of cooling grip with a fan in it. This could potentially save you. And limiting the time that I've used it in the not truly testing conditions, but man, I've done a lot of 4K 120 when it comes to filming sports, and just having that without knowing or without worrying about truly overheating the camera, man, this is pretty much saving grace. I would look into this if you haven't. It's relatively inexpensive for what you get. Like I said, you can just buy the cooling fan itself. You can buy the kit with the batteries, and if you buy that, you can buy additional batteries on top of that. It is USB-C chargeable, both the battery and the actual thermal cooling fan, so you could potentially run it from a power device. If you have a V-mount that takes a USB-C connection, you should be able to power it that way too and just keep it running continuously. So you've got a couple of options to really use this. No one is sponsoring this video. However, if you've not seen this, I will put links to this product in the description below. Check it out if you haven't. Like I said, I think this would do a lot of people a lot of good. and potentially save you if you have a camera that is really prone to overheating and you don't really have any other way of dealing with it other than just trying to be judicial in how you're filming. So with that, thanks for sticking around. Catch y'all next time.